At first glance, South Park looks like your average small American town nestled in the Colorado mountains. Snow-covered streets, a local school, a church, a mayor's office, a 24/7 convenience store. Nothing out of the ordinary. But if you scratch beneath the surface, you'll find that this town should have been declared a federal disaster zone years ago. And its local government, one bad day away from total collapse. And all of this chaos can be traced back to 4 kids: Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny. 4 seemingly normal school children who have somehow become the main source of destruction in town. And sometimes just their ideas have led to events that, in the real world, would spark national investigations, FEMA intervention, and billions in economic damage. But in South Park, it's just another Tuesday.
Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without them.
Why the kids? You'd think the adults were to blame. The clueless mayor, the deranged teachers, the absurdly irresponsible parents. And sure, they're part of the problem. But let's be honest. Most major disasters in South Park start with a kid's dumb idea, a fight over a toy, a science experiment gone rogue, or Cartman's latest ego trip.
Oh my God, I killed Kenny! That does it. I'm gonna get that Canada once and for all!
When an 8-year-old builds a galactic teleporter or triggers mass panic for fun, it's time for the town to rethink its education system and law enforcement priorities. The scale of the damage. Let's recall some of the more subtle disasters these kids have caused. Zombie outbreak caused by tainted fried chicken. Yep.
Morgue, yeah. No, fellas, let's form a line. I've got enough topical cream for everybody.
World War III launched over a console debate. Yup.
Stan, it's Mommy!
Collapse of the U.S. financial system because Cartman played bank.
Crisis has
Yep.
hit South Park and the nation like never before. Another South Park bank has closed down, leaving thousands of people in debt. It's just crazy, you know? Everyone's affected.
Citywide meltdown because Stan said something honest on live TV. Of course.
It isn't global warming. Huh? Global warming isn't happening right now. It's not what caused the Beaverton flood. How do you know that? Because I know what did cause the flood. George Bush? No. Terrorists? No. Communists? No. Chinese radicals? No. Cartman? Sort of. Cartman flooded Beaverton? Shh! Not exactly. We were messing around on this guy's new boat, and Cartman egged me on, and I crashed it into the Beaverton Dam. Dude, you have to tell everyone, right now!
In the real world, if a small town suffered even 3 events of this magnitude, it would be under emergency lockdown. South Park? They just keep going like it's no big deal. Who's paying for all this? The destruction, the fires, the medical bills, the lawsuits. None of it disappears. Every burned down school, every exploded house, every injured bystander. The city budget foots the bill. In other words, local taxpayers. In other words, the very parents of these kids. Which is kind of hilarious when you think about it.
What the fuck?
The damage caused by the children is being funded by the people raising them. Sometimes right after Cartman steals their money to build a throne made of bones.
Mom, seriously, something wonderful has happened.
What is it, Snookums?
If South Park were a real town, city officials would have filed for federal assistance years ago. It would rank as one of the most financially damaged municipalities in America. The state governor would have ordered a complete evacuation and demolition by now. But in cartoon logic, everything resets. The buildings are back, the people are fine, the money? Gone. It's like someone wipes the wreckage every week, but leaves the repair bill. Physical destruction. Schools, homes, streets, stores, and everything in between. If South Park kept municipal accounting records like a real town, the line item labeled repairs due to student-related incidents would easily take up 1/3 of the entire yearly budget. Because over 20-plus seasons, the kids have managed to destroy more property than tornadoes, earthquakes, and IRS audits combined. And these aren't natural disasters or acts of God. They're the result of 4 schoolchildren, sometimes 1, sometimes all 4, working together like a demolition crew sponsored by chaos. The school, a favorite demolition target. Let's start with the obvious, the local elementary school, which has taken more damage than any other structure in town. It's been blown up multiple times. Set on fire, frozen solid, taken over by terrorists.
How every one of our friends might be in serious danger. What? Why? Get online now. Right. Go to MySpace. See if there's a MySpace page for a Bahir Hakim. Bahir Hakim, born in Chicago, 8 years old. His favorite color is green.
Converted into a mental institution.
How do you think you would react if I said some negative things about you?
Honestly, I wouldn't really care.
What if I were to tell you that I think you're fat? I think you're a fat little boy. I think you're way too fat for your age. Does that make you feel any anger? Huh, fatty? Jelly belly?
Rebranded into one of Cartman's business ventures. In the real world, one incident like that would shut the place down for good. In South Park, the school miraculously reappears by the next episode. Cost to rebuild a school after a fire in the US? Anywhere from $1 to $5 million. In South Park? Doesn't matter. It'll just burn again. Now let's move on to private infrastructure. Homes, stores, food joints, science labs. Thanks to the kids we've seen, at least 6 buildings explode. 3 residential blocks burned. A museum, church, and shopping mall leveled. Various clinics, cafes, arcades, and businesses wiped off the map. Sometimes it's accidental, like when Kenny activated an ancient machine and erased a neighborhood. Other times, it's completely intentional, like when Cartman started a religious war for profit, or when Stan and Kyle built a bomb just to see what happens. Real-world cost of rebuilding one mid-sized commercial property, $250,000 to $1 million. City vehicles and public transport. At least one school bus has been torched. Dozens of police cruisers have been totaled. Electric grids and bridges have been taken out. In some episodes, entire trains have derailed or exploded. Add to that flying cows, cars swallowed by sinkholes, an alien spacecraft crashing into City Hall. Damage to vehicles and infrastructure, easily hundreds of thousands to millions. Who pays? Not the kids. The city, which means the taxpayers, again. Infrastructure. Bridges, power lines, roads. Some episodes feature kids shutting down the town's power, collapsing bridges, or destroying roads used by ambulances and buses. When a bridge goes down, it's not just a matter of repair costs. It's a public safety crisis, legal liability, logistical mess, and PR disaster. And all of it caused because someone didn't want to take a math test or accidentally unleashed a giant robot. Down arrow preliminary damage total. Rough early estimate? Approximately 20 public structures destroyed equals $10 to $30 million. Approximately 15 private properties equals $3 to $5 million. Slime city vehicles and equipment equals $2 to $3 million. Total, over $40 million in physical damages, medical costs, injuries, epidemics, and biological horror caused by kids. If South Park had a healthcare system anything like real-life America's, insurance companies would have gone bankrupt years ago, or simply blacklisted the entire zip code. Why? Because the medical costs caused by the kids aren't just high, they're catastrophic. And we're not talking about scraped knees or a black eye from a snowball fight. We're talking about full-scale viral outbreaks, epidemics, genetic mutations, unauthorized science experiments, zombies, mutants, alien parasites, and other incidents that in any real city would trigger martial law. Viruses and epidemics. How many times have the kids unleashed total biological chaos? Cartman has spread fake vaccines and caused mass hysteria. Stan accidentally triggered an immune system failure event. One episode featured a full-on zombie outbreak. The boys gave blood to the homeless, which led to a near apocalypse. Alien viruses, radiation leaks, faith-based diseases, you name it. In the real world, a single outbreak like this could cause tens of millions in damages. Quarantines, evacuation, treatment centers, CDC intervention. In South Park, it's usually resolved with one punchline.
You know, I've really learned something today. Halloween isn't about costumes or candy. It's about being good to one another and giving and loving.
Emergency room injuries and trauma. Almost every South Park resident has, at some point, ended up in the hospital because of these kids. Injured by one of their science projects. Caught in a town-wide panic they started. Hit by some malfunctioning death trap Cartman built. And of course, Kenny. Kenny dies almost every episode, often in horrifically creative ways. In the US, an average hospital stay costs $10,000 to $30,000. So if just 10 people are injured in one episode, that's $100,000 to $300,000 per incident. Genetics, mutations, and experimental nightmares. When the boys decide to play scientist, disaster follows. Cartman implants microchips in himself,
Hello, this is Martin with Insecure.
God damn it, I've had it with you people! When I signed up, I thought I was getting CSI guys protecting my ass, but all you answering the phones are complete retards!
Kyle gets exposed to dangerous radiation. Kenny is resurrected using super soldier DNA. Stan opens an interdimensional portal and someone fuses with a cyborg. At one point, they clone their teacher. Spoiler, it doesn't go well. Each of these science projects results in emergency response, containment teams, lawsuits, destruction of public or lab equipment, possible trauma to the entire town. In real life, these cases would each cost hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. In South Park, everything resets by the next scene. Mental health, nowhere near enough. Let's put physical injuries aside. What about psychological damage? The kids have survived wars, deaths, betrayals, and literal Armageddon. They've seen things that would give adults PTSD. Sometimes, they're the cause. In real life, these children would be under constant psychological observation. In South Park, the next day it's as if none of it ever happened. Estimated medical costs, viral outbreaks, and epidemic events, $10 to $20 million. Hospitalizations of townspeople, $3 to $5 million. Experimental cases / genetic horror, $2 to $4 million. Mental health, if it were actually addressed, $1 to $2 million. Total, between $15 to $30 million in medical damage caused by the kids. Police, firefighters, and emergency services. Who cleans up the kids' chaos? South Park is a town where emergency services operate as if the city is under constant siege. But instead of natural disasters or organized crime, their biggest threat comes from a group of 8-year-old boys with too much free time and zero impulse control. Every new catastrophe means another call to the police, fire department, paramedics, or even the US military. Yes, the military, because of kids, more than once. South Park police. Heroes are helpless witnesses. In a normal town, police handle crime, traffic, maybe the occasional raccoon in a trash can. In South Park, they open fire on mutants, evacuate schools taken hostage by children, chase down zombies, seal off neighborhoods over some harmless game gone nuclear, or just hide and wait for things to calm down. Smart, honestly. Every incident involves multiple units, roadblocks, gear, and equipment. The average police operation in the US costs $10,000 to $100,000, depending on scale. South Park runs these missions twice a week, minimum. Firefighters, always on standby. When the kids unleash fiery aliens, turn the town into a lava trap, or just casually burn down the school for science, the fire department is always first on the scene. Burned homes, exploding warehouses, flaming school buses. Each response costs $2,000 to $10,000, and that's without calling in backup from other towns. Ambulance paramedics and medical teams. Once people start collapsing, and they always do, ambulances enter apocalypse mode. Mass injuries, chemical burns, alien infections, stampedes in the streets. A major incident like this can cost $50,000 to $150,000, including transport, on-site treatment, and ER care. South Park? It happens every few episodes.
Humble folks without temptation.
Going down south, but gonna leave my woes behind.
People starting hot in heaven.
Heading on up south, but gonna see if I can't unwind.
Military and federal response. They did it again? Some episodes escalate so badly that the Army, FBI, CIA, National Guard, or even NASA get involved. Reasons. The kids summoned aliens. Cartman launched a revolution. The school was flagged as a terrorist facility. The town got infected with bioweapons. Again, the kids did it. Every military deployment costs millions in logistics. Helicopters, troops, tanks, temporary bases, intel, containment teams. Estimated costs. Police. Approximately 20 operations times $50,000 equals $1 million. Who's suing whom? Let's break it down realistically. Someone gets injured in a school explosion. A business burns down due to a science fair gone wrong. A resident is traumatized by a zombie attack. A parent discovers their child has mutated after eating cafeteria food. Somebody's going to court. In real life, even one of these cases could result in years of litigation and millions in damages. South Park would be the most legally entangled city in Colorado. Maybe in the country. The cost of not suing. Let's not forget the hidden cost of not taking legal action. The town gains a reputation as legally useless. No insurance company will touch it. Citizens feel unsafe and unprotected. Crooks and children run wild without consequence. The city opens itself to even bigger future liability. Ironically, doing nothing could cost even more than hiring a legal team. Should South Park just hire full-time lawyers? At this point, yes. The city might as well set up a permanent disaster defense fund. Keep a team of on-call attorneys, psychologists, and PR managers. Just assume every week will involve at least one lawsuit. Honestly, South Park should have its own courthouse wing labeled Children-Related Incidents. Legal cost estimate summary. Trials and settlements. 20-plus seasons. $75 to $100 million. Physical damage. From blown-up schools to cratered streets, the total cost of repairing buildings, homes, public infrastructure, and equipment over the show's lifetime comes to $40 to $50 million in estimated physical damages. That includes destroyed schools, homes, shops, vehicles, bridges, roads, lost utilities like power and water. And keep in mind, this number is likely low, considering we're not including dimensional rifts or lava pits.
What?
Medical and psychological costs. From zombie bites to alien infections, South Park's medical bill is no joke. $15 to $30 million in estimated healthcare costs. That includes hospitalizations, epidemic responses, long-term trauma, Kenny's weekly resurrections, emergency services, police, fire, ambulance, and the occasional deployment of the military to clean up after another one of the kids' little mishaps. $12 to $27 million in emergency response costs. Even if you assume discounts for frequent flyer miles, that's still a police, fire, ambulance, and the occasional deployment of the military to clean up after another one of the kids' little mishaps. $12 to $27 million in emergency response costs. Even if you assume discounts for frequent flyer miles, that's still a massive public expense. Legal expenses and settlements. From lawsuits against the school board to damages paid to traumatized residents, South Park would have needed a team of lawyers working 24/7. $75 to $100 million in legal costs and settlements. This includes personal injury cases, class action suits, federal investigations, lawsuits filed by and against the kids, reputation and economic damage. This is the hardest to quantify, but the most devastating. Lost tourism, business flight, home value collapse, insurance blacklisting, complete loss of state credibility. A conservative estimate of $100 to $200 million in economic fallout wouldn't even be crazy. And that doesn't include the emotional cost of living in South Park, if you survive long enough to feel it. Where are the adults? Let's start with the obvious. Where are the parents? Randy is busy fighting at Whole Foods. Gerald is on the internet impersonating trolls. Cartman's mom? She's probably enabling another one of his schemes. Then there's the teachers, who are either completely unqualified or too traumatized to care. The police mostly confused. The mayor? Hiding. No one in a position of authority seems remotely capable of stopping these kids, or even acknowledging the level of destruction they cause. Is it willful ignorance? It almost feels intentional, like the entire town has collectively agreed to just look the other way. Because if they really admitted how much damage the kids have caused, they'd have to arrest children, sue their own families, rebuild the entire town weekly, and worst of all, admit Cartman has outsmarted them. So instead, they treat every explosion, death, and mass panic like it's just another snow day. The darkest possibility. Everyone's in denial. Maybe the people of South Park aren't stupid. Maybe they're just in denial. It's easier to believe everything's fine than to confront the reality that your town is under the control of 4 deeply chaotic minors with no fear of consequences. It's like psychological survival, denial, or madness. What if they did try to stop them? Let's say tomorrow the town finally decides to crack down. Cartman is expelled and put under surveillance. Kyle and Stan are placed in psychiatric evaluation. Kenny is, well, he'll still die, but at least someone takes notes. Would it work? Probably not, because these kids don't follow the rules of reality. They operate on cartoon logic, fourth wall breaking immunity, and something even stronger than money or politics. Even if the town locks them up, the next episode resets everything. They're back, like nothing happened. And that's the point. South Park isn't just a town. It's a loop of consequence-free destruction, powered by kids who, in any realistic world, would be on every government watch list. But that's the joke. That's the world they live in. And maybe the reason no one stops them is because deep down, South Park knows it needs them. Without the kids, the chaos ends. And without chaos, South Park wouldn't exist. The children of South Park have caused countless injuries and psychological trauma, the town's complete reputational collapse, and yet they remain free, unstoppable, and somehow still enrolled in school. Justice? In South Park, that's just another joke waiting to happen.